If you love learning about the historic Cheyenne Frontier Days, take a listen. CFD has just launched an official podcast. Our William Langston tells us all about the exciting new platform.
Cheyenne Frontier Days dates back to 1897 and is known as the largest rodeo in the world. With years of history and stories to cover, the folks at Cheyenne Frontier Days have a new medium to tell these stories in an in-depth and comprehensive way through a podcast.
Take us back to 1897 in the very first Frontier Days.
So my great-great-uncle Charlie Hersig was one of the co-founders of Cheyenne Frontier Days. So my family basically has been involved in Cheyenne Frontier Days since the very first event.
Cheyenne Frontier Days is a yearly tradition that dates back over 120 years. It represents the Western way of life and the spirit of the rodeo. The new podcast, The Daddy of Them All, aims to provide a closer look at the history and the cultural effect of the world's largest rodeo. Tom Hersig is the current CEO of Cheyenne Frontier Days. He explained the need for a new medium to tell these stories.
Cheyenne Frontier Days has stories that are deep and really require a lot more than just a blurb on social media or a blurb on the newscast. The only way we can really tell our story on all kinds of topics is to have a lengthier discussion.
Tom says one episode will not be like the other, with topics ranging from history, music acts, volunteers, and much more. The podcast will aim to cover a range of topics.
What's going to be unique about our podcast is we're not going to have the same host. Probably not the same host hardly ever.
Tom has already received a lot of positive feedback from the first episode that was released.
Even people here that said, gosh, I didn't know that was part of our history. So, yeah, I think it's exciting.
New episodes of the podcast will be released every month. The Daddy of Them All podcast can be found by visiting the Cheyenne Frontier Days website, their YouTube page, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. William Langston, your Wyoming Link, Cheyenne.